in some algebra problems it's more convenient to work with fractions than it is to work with decimals. So in this video, let's talk about how we take a decimal and we convert that decimal into a fraction. As you probably already know, when you're dealing with decimals, you have all these numbers that come after the decimal, and they each have a particular unit name. This the tenths spot, the hundredth spot, the thousandth spot, etc. And this literally means out of 10, out of 100, out of 1,000, etc. So for instance, if you had 0.4, this literally means 4 out of 10. And so we can express 0.4, the decimal, as a fraction by writing it as 4/10. Now we're not done yet. A lot of times, once you write these as fractions, we also need to go an extra step and simplify that fraction. So for example, 4/10, the 4 and the 10 both have a common factor of 2. 4 is 2 times 2, and 10 is 2 times 5. And so you can cancel a common factor of 2, which will leave you with a ratio of 2/5. So this is how we would leave our final answer. 0.4, the decimal, would be expressed as 2/5 as a fraction. And you can do this even if it goes beyond the 10th spot. For example, 0.25. This literally is 25 out of 100. And the reason this goes out to 100 as opposed to 10 is it goes out to the hundredths spot, which would require us to divide by 100 instead of 10. And so this one can be simplified as well. 100 is 4 times 25, and so we can cancel a common factor of 25, which would leave us the ratio 1/4. So we know this intuitively. 25 cents is a quarter of a dollar. It's a fourth of a dollar. And so we can see in this example how we converted from a decimal into a fraction. All right, let's recap those rules one more time. We'll do a few more examples. Step 1 is to write the decimal as a whole number out of 10, 100, 1,000, etc. And then once you get that fraction, then you simplify that fraction until you're finished. So let's look at a few more examples. These are more on par with what you would expect to see on a test question or a homework question or something. All right, let's say we have 5.75. This goes out to the hundredth spot. So we're going to write this as 575 out of 100. I'm going to drop the decimal point because I'm writing it out of 100 literally. Now let's see, we can simplify this. I see it has some common factors here, common factor of 5, and in fact I think it even has a common factor of 25. 100 is 4 times 25, and 575 is 23 times 25, and you can check me on that. I'm pretty sure that's correct. If that's too much to bite off all at once, you can divide both 575 and 100 by something as small as like 5. I do see that they're clearly both multiples of 5, and then you could simplify that fraction when you're done. But I think we can just go ahead and take care of it all at once. All right, cancel our common factor of 25, and we would get a ratio of 23/4. 23 and 4 do not have any more common factors, so that's about as far as I can go. All right, let's look at one more example. Let's say we have 4.032. Okay, it's kind of a big number, or at least a lot of decimal places after the decimal. And so we'll write this as 4032 out of, then we'll have the tenths, hundredths, up to the thousandth spot to consider. So we'll divide this by 1,000. So it'll be 4032 out of 1,000. And then we have to simplify this. We can look for any common factors. I do see that they're both even, so we could start with that and divide by 2 and divide by 2. I'll go ahead and jump straight to the punchline. I think both of these are both divisible by 8. I think 8's the largest thing that'll go into both. The denominator, 1,000, is 8 times 125, and the numerator is 8 times 504. So we cancel our common factor of 8, and we reduce this down to 504 divided by 125. And you can check me on this, but 504 and 125 do not have any factors common with one another, so that's about as far as you can take it. So we've taken this decimal and we've expressed it as a fraction. So anyways, follow those rules and you should be okay. Basically, you take your decimal and write it out of 10, 100, 1,000, etc., and then simplify that resulting fraction.